Hello, all you write a book in a dayers. My name is Allison Tait, and I'm also known as A.L. Tait. I'm the author of three epic adventure series for kids: the Mapmaker Chronicles, the Ataban Cipher, and my latest, which is the first book in the Maven and Reeve mystery series called The Fire Star. But I've popped in today. I'm here to talk to you about your book, not about my book, your book in a day. And I've got a few tips for you on how you might actually get to the end. I know it feels like an epic battle, and I do understand writing a story of any length can feel like an epic battle, but doing it in only 12 hours or less is a very much an epic battle. So I've got some thoughts for you. The first thing I want to talk to you about is your time management for today, or for your day of writing a book, write a book in a day. You have got 12 precious hours, maybe even fewer, and you have to make sure that you make the most of those. So I've got three exciting tips for you. The first one is to always keep the parameters in sight. You know what's got to go into this book. You know that it has to be there to be successful. Make sure you keep them in sight at all times. Every detour that you take away from those parameters is going to cost you time. It's going to cost you words. And, you know, what we don't want is for you to get to the end of the day and discover that you've run out of precious time. So keep those parameters in sight all the way. Don't overcomplicate your story. And I know how tempting this can be, because you want to throw in every single idea and every single thought, and you want to make it as exciting as possible. But I'm here to tell you that the more characters that you have, the more subplots you throw in, then the more time and words you will need to unravel it all. It takes me about 60,000 words to unravel three subplots and a whole lot of characters. You don't have that many words, and you don't have that much time. So keep it simple. Focus on the main story. Pick out what the main story is, pick out the main characters, and make sure that you focus on those main characters. If you keep throwing in a whole bunch of other people, your reader will get confused and you are going to run out of time. Now, the other thing is, and this might sound counterintuitive, but the more planning you do up front, the more time you are going to have to write. I know that you're going to feel excited. I know that you're just going to want to jump in and get going because you're going to feel the pressure of the clock. But the reality is that the more you know about your story, the more economical your writing process is going to be. Make sure you take full advantage of the planning time. And you know why that's really, really important? I'll tell you why, because it's going to take me into the next thing I want to talk to you about, which is getting to the end of the story. For your story to be successful, for your book to be successful, it must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you don't have an ending, then you just don't have a story. What you've got is some fabulous bit of snippety, fragmenty thing. Do not have a snippety, fragmenty thing. You need a full story. So how are you going to know what the ending is before you even start? You make sure you know what your character wants, what your main character's goal is, because your character needs a goal. And the plot of your story is just what happens when your character makes decisions along the way aimed at achieving that goal. And of course, you're going to make it as hard as possible for your character. You're going to throw in as many problems as possible. You need a big problem and you need a big goal. And basically your ending is going to be somewhere where your character either achieves that goal, overcomes that problem, overcomes those other smaller problems along the way, and then you have a happy ending, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's a sad ending, but whichever way you go, you want to make sure that your reader is left satisfied, that they are not turning the page looking for more of the story. So make sure you've got that solid ending, and the best way is just to map your story. I'm a big fan of maps. I wrote a whole series about map making. And what you want to do is map that story before you begin. Have the plan and know where you're going, and you will get there. Without it, you could end up wandering off all over the state, and we don't want that to happen. Now, I'm going to share one other writerly secret to help you get there, to help you get this done. And that's this. Often people think that writers are people who sit here and just pull idea after idea after idea out of the air and concoct those into a book. And in a way, that's exactly what happens. But Every author will tell you that the idea for a story begins with something that you see, something that you hear, something that you feel, something that happens to you along the way. Characters are a little part of you and a little part of other things and a little part themselves. Think about what you know. If you use actual facts and actual things that have happened to you or other team members in a story, even if they're really, really well disguised, and I do suggest you do really, really well disguise them, it will give you the inspiration to write a whole lot of words very easily because you are writing about something that you know. You are not pulling it out of the air. So a story doesn't have to feature magic and battles and dragons and mythical creatures to be an epic and fabulous story. The best ones often feature kids working together to solve problems. They're my favorite kinds of stories. And if anyone knows how to do that, it's you and the rest of your Write a Book in a Day team. So if some members of your team play soccer, use it in your story. If one member of your team knows an awful lot about medieval history, use that in your story. Use some of those details in your story. Look at all the things that you know and use them to help you to get that story down. And one final thing, good luck. You are doing an amazing thing, and writing a book, whether it be in a day, in a year, or in 10 years, in a decade, who knows? It's a brilliant, brilliant achievement, and you should be very proud of yourselves for taking part. Good luck.